Hey, what's up everyone? It's Scott the Frozen Gamer. So you may have noticed that my Hottest Games of the Week segment that I used to do on my YouTube channel here is now being done on the Dice Towers board game breakfast that they do. So I'll have a little segment there from now on. So I had to come up with a new segment for my channel because that one's going to their channel. So I have been paying attention to all of the newest entries of games into the Board Game Geek system, and I'm picking out the ones that I find to be interesting. So I have 14 games that I found to be interesting this week that I want to talk about. And we're just going to go through them alphabetically. Now, I might get things wrong about the games because I don't know everything about them. I'm going to be inferring things based off of what they said, but I could be wrong, or things could change as the design process of these games evolve, or these games may just never come out for all I know. So, but I'm going to talk about them here because these were ones that seemed cool to me. So we're going to start off with number one is Australis. Not Australia, Australis. It's by Leo Colovini, who is known for older games like Cartagena and Clans, but a really prolific designer. And Alessandro Zucchini is also co-designing it. Number two on my list is Backstabbers. The designer is Pedro Cavalcanti and Charles de Oliveira. Art is by Lehigh Henry or Henry, I'm not sure. Published is Solara Studios. It's 3 to 8 minutes, plays 15 to 60 minutes, just a wide gap, but you'll see why in a minute. And it's coming out supposedly in 2024. The blurb was, eliminate the competitor and become the most powerful being in Solara. So the whole design team is brand new. This is all that they've worked on is this one game. And it's a battle royale game. And battle royale games, I used to play, what was it, Pub something, where you're like in the military and it's a battle royale video game. That idea of like one being left standing always interests me. And from the box art, it looks like the characters are going to be like a wide variety of species, like different aliens or something, or just weird species in the game, which is kind of cool. It's not just going to be humans, which I first thought it was when I read about it. There's going to be more than 40 different characters that you try to eliminate. And what's key in this, because I don't like elimination in games, if you are eliminated, you still are in the game and you play somehow. It doesn't say how yet, but you still are in the game playing. And then their final tagline that they had on Board Game Geek is, don't trust anyone, not even yourself. I don't know if there's going to be like a hidden role type of thing in the game or not. I don't know, but it kind of gives those vibes. And that tagline really just like caught me. It's like, ooh, interesting. Yeah, that's I can't trust anyone. That's like the type of games I like. So yeah, that sounds cool. Who knows? It's a brand new team, but that is Backstabbers. Number three is Comet. The designer is Brad Smith, who's done like one war game before that I know of that was posted on BGG. The publisher is Hollandspiel, Amabel Holland, who's published like The Field of Cloth of Gold and Endurance. It's a solo game only, 90 minutes long, 2024. The blurb is, aid World War II Allied airmen evade capture as a member of the famous Comet line. So first thing off, Hollandspiel does the most unique games, and I've never played any of them, but I'm always like super interested in reading about them and what people think of them, because the themes of the game are so unique and so out there compared to like the more traditional games. So always interested whenever I hear a Hollandspiel release, and this one really, the theme really got me. So the comment line was safe houses, like a passage of safe houses where people tried to help pilots that were shot down during World War II. They ran from Belgium through France and Spain to the British Gibraltar. A lot of the people working on the Comet line were teenage girls who were risking their life. I think 800 people were caught, 300 were killed, something like that. It's on BGG. And the game seems like it's a hand management, resource management game where you're guiding the airmen while, you know, all this chaos of World War II is happening around you and to you. But a solo game, because I like solo games, because I don't have a lot of people to play with all the time. World War II, which is always an interesting theme for me, and Hollandspiel puts me all in. I'm like super psyched about this game, and as it develops, hearing more about it. Number four, the exact opposite of a World War II game. It's called DaDaDa. The publisher is the Op Games, no artist or designer on listed right now. It's 2 to 99 players, 15 to 30 minutes long, 2024. Create a new language each time you play. This is obviously a party game. And what you do is it sounds like you turn over a card with a sound on it, and then you have a card with an image on it, and you assign that sound to the image, and then the next player turns over another image card. Is that right? Yeah, they flip over another image card and they can assign it to the same sound, or if they don't think that it fits with that sound, they can flip over a new sound card and assign it to that sound card. Eventually, you're going to have a bunch of images with words out on the board, and those words are going to create our new language, like DaDaDa poo, if that was what we all did. And then whoever the active player is going to pick one of those cards that fits the new language, the new word in the language we came up with, DaDaDa poo, and everyone else tries to guess that word. So this game could be really funny, or it could be really bad. I don't know. It's a party game. They always can go one way or the other, but it was weird enough and interesting enough to at least catch my attention. That is DaDaDa. Number 5 is ElvenTrolls. The designer is Gaetana Foschini. Artist is John Bauer. We'll come back to John Bauer in a minute. Publisher is Black Mamba Games. It's 4 players, 15 minutes, 2024, and it's a trick-taking game. And it's 4 players only because it's a partner trick-taking game. So one side plays the elves and the other side plays the trolls. And it's all based off of Swedish troll lore. And so from what I understand is the highest number wins the trick, and takes the troll and elf cards that were played that round and puts it in their forest. But if you played the lowest number card, you get to take one of those cards and you can play it in either your forest or the other forest. And then the faction with the highest total scores the points for their team. But the highest total in their forest scores the points for their team. But here's the kicker, is that there's going to be different runes on the cards, and if you ever gain 3 runes in your forest that are the same, then all of those cards with those runes get taken off and you lose them and points go to the other team. So it sounds like a pretty simple trick-taking game, which is the way I like them. I don't like too complex of trick-taking games, but it still has like enough uniqueness to it that it's not just like hearts or something. And what's really cool about this game is the artist, John Bauer, was a professional Swedish artist from the turn of the century, the 20th century, not the 21st century. So back, he lived in the late 1800s to the like 1915 or something. And he did like troll art, like Swedish troll art was what he was known for. And they're using his real art in the game. So that's really cool and really fitting for what this theme is. And I love when people use real like professional painter, artist type of art in games. So number 6 is Flickering Stars, and that's designed by Josh Kappel, who did Wasabi and Into Deep, and Matt Leacock, who most everyone knows for Pandemic and the Forbidden Island Desert series of games. The publisher is Friendly Skeleton, which used to be Deep Water Games. And it's 2 to 4 players, 30 to 60 minutes, coming out in 2024. Flick your ships to explore space and defeat the rival faction. And that's what we know about the game. You have a whole fleet of ships that you're going to be flipping around trying to kill off the other players. And it's going to be done over different scenarios. That's all we know about the game, but it's a flicking game. I like flicking games. I have Crokinole on a wall over there. I've got Karuka, which is hidden behind Final Girl on the wall back there. I love flicking games, and Matt Leacock always is gonna at least get my ear up in the air looking around. So yeah, that's why it's on my list here. Flickering Stars. Number 7 is Hedge Mage. The designer is Connor Wake, who did Umbra Via. Artist is Josh Nelson. Publisher is going to be Floodgate Games, who's done Sagrada and Decorum recently. 2 to 4 players, 30 to 45 minutes, 2024. And you're going to collect gnomes from your rival's hedge maze while building your own to protect yours. There's, again, not much more on BGG at the time about this game, but it sounds like you're going to be building a maze, your opponents are going to be building a maze, and then you try to solve each other's maze to collect the gnomes off of them. It's simultaneous action selection. There's a pick up and deliver element in the game somewhere, somehow, and it's going to have miniatures. I'm guessing the gnomes are going to be miniatures in the game. But yeah, it's a unique theme where it sounds like everyone has their own maze that they design and then try to solve each other's mazes. It's Floodgate Games, who's a great company, a local company for me too as well, so it's always nice to be able to support them. So that's number 7, Hedge Mage. Number 8 is Keyframes. The designer is Isra C and She S, Sheila, short for Sheila. Red Cathedral and the White Castles, they designed that series of games. The artist is Christina Achawi, who has worked for Adult Swim and Cartoon Network, which is perfect for this game. You'll see why in a second. The publisher is Combo Games, which is a new publisher. It's 2 to 4 players, 15 to 25 minutes, 2024 release. Create the perfect frames in the best animation sequences. So there's going to be an animation studio, and they've narrowed down they have one opening for a new job within their studio, and they've narrowed it down to the players in the game, and we're all going to be competing to create the best animation sequence, and whoever does gets the job. It's going to be this little filler game, which is very different than what they've done in the past. There's turn order bidding, there's set collection, and building the animation sequences. And it seems like it's a pretty tight game because you can have 2 projects running at once. And if you take and try to fit a frame into those projects, but it doesn't fit, then you have to destroy one of your whole projects and create the new project with what you just took and with the frame you just took. And that's not good to have that happen. So I like that tightness in the game. The animation idea is cool that they got an actual TV animator is really cool as well. And of course, the pedigree of the designers has me interested, especially since they're doing a little filler compared to these nice medium weight Euro games that they've done in the past. So number 9 is Last Week of Summer, designed by Sean Holt. The publisher is Allies or Enemies, which is also the name of their YouTube channel. If you haven't checked them out before, check out Sean and Jess, their YouTube channel, Allies or Enemies. So I've been watching them for the past year, probably. The game's for 1 to 4 players, 60 to 90 minutes, coming out in 2025. The blurb is, it's 1986, high school is over, and you need to plan the perfect summer. So you're going to be going around town, and there's going to be, in the 80s, and there's going to be different stores that you're going to go visit, and they're all thematic to the time, so one of them is going to be an arcade. There's going to be a worker placement element by going to the different locations. There's going to be, I think they said 8 locations in the game, but only 5 are going to be used each game, so it's going to be pretty variable, the setup every game. And then each location has a thematic mini game that uses a real board game mechanism for its mini game, and they're all going to be different. So one location might have set collection, one might have push your luck, and they're all going to be thematic to what type of store you're visiting or location you're visiting. And you're trying to make memories, and every memory that you make, you put a little cassette token down on the board, and whoever has the most cassettes wins. And this game is just, from the description, is just dripping with theme. I know they're super psyched about it. They've been working on it for a long time. They just talked about it in one of their most recent videos on their YouTube channel. So if you're interested, definitely check out their channel and give it a listen, because they talked about it more than what Board Game Geek currently has up. And it will be fun to watch their progress. I'm sure they're going to keep sharing it online as well on YouTube. So again, they're Allies or Enemies, Sean and Jess's channel. Number 10 is, you probably have seen on Board Game Geek at this point, but it's the Mandalorian Adventures. The designer is Corey Konecka, who of course was a big Fantasy Flight designer for years, and Josh Bepler. Art is by a huge art team coming together. I'm not going to list, I think it had 23 artists working on it. The publisher is Unexpected Games, which is Corey's company that he started after he left Fantasy Flight, and they always do really unique games like The Initiative and 3000 Scoundrels. It's 30 to 60 minutes long, 2024, and the blurb is complete missions together as recognizable characters from the hit TV series. So there's going to be 8 different characters that you can choose from, all from the first season of The Mandalorian, and each character has their own unique deck of cards in it. The missions are going to be done on a storybook, kind of like that Plaid Hat uses in a lot of their games. They kind of made that system pretty big, and then Jaws of the Lion really took it over and made it huge. But you're going to have different pages to turn in the storybook, and that keeps you along the adventure, and all different layouts of where you're going to be battling or whatever you're doing that round. It sounds like it's going to have a legacy element to the game. It doesn't, I don't think there's going to be ripping of cards or drawing on the board. It doesn't seem like that, but it says that you're going to be opening stuff and like that, and the game's going to grow as you play it. And what really caught my eye was there may be a trader mechanism eventually in the game that appears eventually, and that's exciting because Corey Konecka, of course, designed Battlestar Galactica, which is the ultimate trader game in board gaming. So that alone has me excited. I like trader games. I've got a few on my shelf behind me, including Battlestar, and yeah, that is The Mandalorian. And I have never even watched The Mandalorian because I'm not into that type of pop culture. So, but the game still has me intrigued. Number 11 is Move Like Me, also published by the op games like DaDaDa, as I mentioned earlier. This is designed by Cami Mitchell, who I believe is a studio designer for the op, and she did do the design for Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle. It is 4 to 99 players, 10 minutes, 2024, and the blurb is simply 2 words, dancing telephone. So it's going to be like the game Telephone, or telestrations as we see in the board game world, but instead of drawing, it sounds like you're going to be doing dance moves. So they mention a couple like hammer hands or the floss, and you're going to get a word and you're going to have to dance it, and then the next person's going to have to like write it down, and then it goes to the next person. Seems like that's what the game's going to be, and that's going to be, again, very fun or really not good. I think it could be really fun with a lot of bad dancers like myself. It could be really hysterical. The games, this and DaDaDa, they both seem really like dumb games, but that sometimes works for party games. I think you can see right behind me on the top of that little stack of games, that pink one right there is That's Not a Hat. That is like the dumbest concept ever for a game, and yet it is hysterical. It was like my 3rd favorite game of the year last year, and I'm hoping that Move Like Me or DaDaDa might like fit right in that realm of games where it sounds so dumb but yet is so funny, and so much fun to play. Number 12 is Phoenix New Horizon, and it's by Jorge J. Barroso. Artist is Jorge Tabanera Redondo, who's doing the art for Conservas, which is the Scott Alms solo game that was just kickstarted recently. Publisher is Pear Local Games, and they've done a handful of games that are decently ranked. I've just never heard of them before. And it's 1 to 4 players, 60 to 120 minutes, so a nice meaty game. 2024, and the blurb is A New Dawn of Humanity. So what the game is humans like have been living underground because of a nuclear fallout, and now we're just emerging out of the Earth, and we need to help recolonize Earth after this nuclear fallout. It's going to be, as you heard the words recolonize, you probably set off like little bells. Yes, this is going to be a Euro game. It's got worker placement elements with different worker types, which always is cool when the workers have different types that they do. It's got fulfilling contracts, give you more actions in the game, which is kind of a unique thing. Usually contracts give you like more like resource rewards or something, but this one's going to give you more actions that you can do, which I thought was really cool. And they have a picture on Board Game Geek right now of I'm guessing it's the player board, and it looks really overwhelming, but that's what I like in a Euro game. I like seeing something that like kind of overwhelms me, so I can kind of then figure out that kind of really deep puzzle to it. So that actually made me happy seeing what looked like a overwhelming player board. And the theme is just great. We're like these mole people, I guess, in a way that has been living underground forever, and now we're just coming back out. So it's a post-apocalyptic, but in a nice, different, unique way. We're seeing the sun again for the first time and have to redevelop Earth. So that is Phoenix New Horizon. Number 13, the penultimate game that I'm talking about today, is called Prickly Path. It's designed by Corne van Moorsel, who was the non-Uwe Rosenberg part of Nova Luna. He also designed Habitats and Factory Fun and Factory Funner. Artist is Lane Garrett. The publisher is Simply Fun, who's known for making very short games, like 30 minutes and under. It's 2 to 4 players. This one's marked down as 15 to 30 minutes, and it says it came out in 2023, but this just got put onto Board Game Geek, so I'm not sure what's going on there. The blurb is plant the largest clumps of cacti as you crisscross the desert. So it says you're going to be moving zigzag through this desert by using dice rolls. And then you plant different types of cactuses and you try to clump them together to get the most points. What has me the most intrigued about this game, it says you're moving based off dice rolls. Is this a roll and move game? A roll and move game in 2024? In 2025 or 2023 if it already did come out? That is interesting. That mechanism's just not used anymore, right? And if it is, it's usually a really bad game. And this is designed by a really, really good designer, Cornel von Moorsel, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I have no idea. Habitats and the factory fun games are huge. And he worked with Uwe Rosenberg on Nova Luna. That's like huge. So that has me super intrigued. Like, what is this? And it's obviously a little filler game. It might be a kid's game for all I know. I don't know. But roll and move, it would make sense if it's a kid's game. Then I might not be as interested. But if it's for adults and it's roll and move, man, that's got me interested because no one does that. The last game everyone has heard of right now, every heavy gamer has heard of right now, and that is Vantage. Yes, the new game by Jamie Stegmaier. The artists, though, are Valentina Filic, Soren Medding, who did Pulsar 2849 and Picture Perfect. Valentina is new to the board game world with her art. And Emilian Roteval, who did just recently Ancient Knowledge. And the box art is really pretty that they've showed on BGG. And if anything, if you like Stonemaier games or if you don't, Jamie nails the box art every time. Him and his artists always have awesome box art. Every single one of their games just great. The game is 1 to 6 players, obviously Stonemaier games, 60 to 120 minutes, and it's coming out in 2025. The blurb says cooperatively explore an entire planet's open world from first-person perspectives. Now, Jamie worked on this game for 7 years. He just wrote up a whole bunch of stuff on it, and that's why he announced it really early. Usually he just announces it a couple weeks before the game starts to release. And this time he's doing it a year in advance because he's been working on it for so long. It's such a big game. It's an open world sandbox game where you're discovering planets and seems to be story driven with, they said, 400 cards in the game, and there's 800 different locations you can go in the game and explore. And the biggest thing that oh, this sounds so good. And I always like Stonemaier games. I don't own any, surprisingly, but I always every game I've played of theirs, which has been a lot, I've liked quite a bit. And I read it and I was like, oh, this is going to be a campaign game. This is this awesome story sounding game, but it's going to be a campaign. And I don't really play campaign games. Very rarely do I play campaign games anymore. And it has to be solo, which this one is solo. But at the very bottom of the Board Game Geek page for Vantage, it says it's not a campaign game, which is amazing. Now I'm super interested in this because it's not a campaign game. I can just play it one-off. And I'm just interested to really see how this plays solo versus with others, and just how Jamie keeps, more and more that Jamie tells about the game as he moves forward with it over the next year. It's going to be a fun one to follow for sure. So that's it. That's 14 new games that I just found this week that I wanted to talk about and share with you. That's it. Peace. Stay cool. See you next time.